Deep within the heart of the candy caves, where rivers of chocolate flowed and mountains of gumdrop lollipops grew, there lived a jolly gingerbread man named GBD. Now GBD was famous throughout the land for his delicious ginger snaps. Every year he would enter his world-famous GBD Gingerbread Bake-Off, attracting contestants from all across the candy caves. And every year, without fail, GBD won first place. Now this year was no different. All the finest bakers from all around had gathered at GBD's house to compete for the coveted golden rolling pin trophy. There were gumdrop fairies fresh from the gumdrop forest licorice whips, who traveled from the twirling sticks of licorice land Micepan mice, who took the long way around from Nutcracker Village, and even a few candy canes, who slid down the frosting falls from Peppermint Pass, and they all came bearing their finest baked goods, hoping to impress the judges and take home the golden prize. There was a beautiful chocolate fountain bubbling with excitement, and a table laden with supplies to help the bakers in their quest. After all the contestants had arrived, GBD gave them a warm welcome and wished them good luck. Then he rang the bell. The contest was on. At first it seemed like everything was going well. The gumdrop fairies flitted about dusting pastries with powdered sugar. The licorice whips cracked up as they twisted and turned their confections, and the marzipan mice scurried about adding the finishing touches to their masterpieces. Even the candy canes managed not to snap under pressure, though they did drop a few candy shards on the floor. As the minutes ticked by, strange things began to happen. First, a marzipan mouse accidentally knocked over the sugar bowl, and soon the entire kitchen was covered in a thick layer of sugar crystals. Then a licorice whip's braid started to unravel, and before she knew it, she was stuck in a sticky situation. And as for the gumdrop fairies, well, they just couldn't seem to stop giggling. It was as if the very ingredients were playing tricks on the bakers. At first, GBD was puzzled. He'd never seen anything like this before. But then he remembered the legend of the mischievous sprinkles, tiny magical beings that lived in the candy caves, and were known for their love of fun and games. Could this be their doing? GBD wasn't sure, but he didn't want the contest to turn into a disaster, so he decided to do something about it. He divided the bakers into teams, with each team consisting of one of everything: a gingerbread man, a gumdrop fairy, a licorice whip, and a marzipan mouse. Then he gave them a secret ingredient, some ordinary-looking sprinkles. He told them that if they could figure out how to incorporate the sprinkles into their baking without them losing their magical properties, they would win an extra prize. And just like that, the contest was back on track. Now at first the team struggled. The sprinkles seemed to have a mind of their tiny little sprinkles, flying off the plate and making a mess whenever the bakers got too close. But slowly but surely, the bakers began to get the hang of it. They learned to work together using the gumdrop fairy's magic to hold the sprinkles and place the licorice whips. Flexibility to reach the tricky spots, and the marzipan mice's keen sense of smell to detect when the sprinkles were getting too hot or too cold. And as the clock ticked down to the final minutes, the teams started to unveil their creations. The first was a gumdrop fairy named Shimmer and her gingerbread man partner, Chip. Shimmer had managed to use her magic to keep the sprinkles suspended in midair, creating a stunning edible sculpture that looked like it had been woven from pure moonlight. The judges were amazed. This had never been done before. But then the licorice whips unveiled their creation. Twist and Shout, as the leader of the whips was called, had used his team's flexibility to create a licorice lattice that encased the entire sculpture, adding a rich, chewy texture that complemented the light and airy sprinkles perfectly. The judges were blown away. This was truly something special. But what about the marzipan mice? Hazel, the leader of the mice, had been working on a particularly ambitious project. She had created a series of tunnels and mazes within the sculpture, each one filled with a different flavor of sprinkle, from cinnamon to citrus to mint. The idea was that the judges would go on a flavor adventure, discovering new and exciting taste combinations as they made their way through the sculpture. And it worked like a charm. The judges were in awe. This was not only a technical marvel, but an artistic triumph as well. In the end, all three teams were declared winners, with each team member receiving a special prize. As for the golden rolling pin trophy, well, GBD decided to award it to the sprinkles themselves. Since without their mischievous meddling, the contest would have never been so exciting. As the sun set over the candy caves, all the bakers gathered together to celebrate their victories. They feasted on sweet treats, danced to merry tunes, and exchanged stories of their adventures. And as the night wore on, they all agreed on one thing. This was the best GBBD gingerbread bake-off ever. From that day forward, the legend of the GBBD gingerbread bake-off grew and grew. Bakers from all over the land came to compete, eager to show off their skills and maybe win a prize or two. And every year the contest was filled with surprises, thanks to the mischievous sprinkles and the magic of the candy caves. Now, sometime after the legendary bake-off, our young hero, Chip the Gingerbread Man, decided to leave his home in the candy caves and see the world. He had heard tales of faraway lands from the contestants of the bake-off, and he was eager to see them for himself. So he packed a bag with some of his famous ginger snaps and set off on an adventure. Along the way, he met all sorts of interesting characters. He helped a lost lollipop lamb find its way home, shared his ginger snaps with a family of singing gummy worms, and even saved a grumpy old prune from a hungry bear. Through it all, Chip remained cheerful and optimistic, always believing that good things would happen to those who were kind and helpful. And one day, as he was walking through a dark and gloomy forest, he heard a cry for help. He followed the sound and came across a clearing where he saw a terrible sight. A wicked witch was stirring a cauldron full of bubbling green goo. And beside her were 4 gingerbread men, each one more battered and bruised than the last. Now Chip had heard of this witch before. She was known throughout the land as the Crumb Crumbler, and she was feared for her ability to turn anyone who entered her forest into crumbs. But Chip was not afraid. He knew he had to do something to help the gingerbread men, so he took a deep breath and charged towards the witch. He dodged her swats with her gnarled wooden spoon and flung his bag of ginger snaps at her, one by one, each snap exploding in a shower of sparks. The witch was furious, but she was no match for Chip. With a final mighty swing, he knocked her cauldron over, sending the green goo flying through the air. As the goo hit the ground, it bubbled and fizzed, turning into 4 brand-new gingerbread men, whole and unharmed. The witch was defeated, and the grateful gingerbread men thanked Chip for saving their lives. They told him that they had been lost in the forest and were on their way to a very important mission when the witch had captured them. Now, Chip was curious. He wanted to know more about this important mission, and so the gingerbread men explained. They were on their way to the annual Gingerbread Guild meeting, which was held in a secret location deep within the Whispering Woods. At the meeting, gingerbread men from all over the land gathered together to discuss important matters concerning the gingerbread community, such as the best way to keep their buttons from falling off, or how to deal with pesky termites who tried to move into their houses. And this year's meeting was especially important because the guild was going to vote on a new motto. The current motto, Gingerbread Men United, was getting a bit old, and everyone had lots of ideas for a new one. There was Don't Be a Dumpling, Spice Up Your Life, and even Beware of Doghouse. But the guild needed someone to come up with a motto that everyone could agree on, and they hoped that the wisest and most experienced gingerbread man in the world could help them. Now this was a big responsibility, but Chip was up for the challenge. He joined the gingerbread men on their journey to the Whispering Woods. Along the way, he listened intently as they shared stories of their travels and the different mottos they had heard other guilds use. He thought long and hard about what would make a good motto, and he considered everything from the serious to the silly. Finally, as they approached the edge of the woods, he had it. He shared his idea with the group, and as they all stood together beneath the ancient trees, the gingerbread men voted, and to their great delight, the new motto was accepted. From that day forward, the motto, Gingerbread Men United, was retired, and a new sign was hung outside the Gingerbread Guild Hall. It read, Gingerbread Men United We Spice.
Ow!
And everyone agreed it was perfect. As the sun set over the Whispering Woods, Chip knew it was time to say goodbye to his new friends. He thanked them for the honor and promised to visit again soon. And as he walked away, he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. He had found his purpose in life, and he knew that he was exactly where he was supposed to be.